Hi, Martin Burt here. I'm here today with Paul Ribbons, who has agreed to answer some questions and to share his experiences his experiences over the last 25 years in the property industry. So a very warm welcome, Paul.
Thank you very much, Martin.
Thanks a lot for agreeing to share some time with us. That's absolutely great. So what I'd like to do is to ask you some questions, find out a bit about yourself and about your sort of your mindset and how you think, etc. So just for people watching, could you sort of share with us a little bit about yourself and a bit about your background? It'd be great.
Okay.
Great.
When I was a kid, I was the most consistent kid in the whole school.
Sure.
In fact, when we got the exam results, my father got the league table and thinks, God, he's done really, really well, and realised he'd got the paper upside down. So you can imagine, I was, and I was, I had a Saturday job which I went straight into full-time employment as a baker.
Sure. Sure.
It was I was there for about 8 years, but here's the thing. It wasn't until I got to 23 years and 20 days old that I realised that I'd actually outlived my mother. And it's that point in time I realised that the greatest gift my mother left me was life is precious, every moment counts, because you don't know when your time's up. So I decided to I made a decision then not to accept mediocrity any longer.
Right.
And so I went out literally to find another job, because in the baking trade there wasn't much dough in it.
Oh, God.
How
many times do you tell that, Ken?
All the time.
Do you get a laugh each time?
Every time.
So, how old were you when you
23. Oh, when I died,
when you
my mother died. I was 3.
3 years old?
Yeah. My mother died when she was 23. So.
Oh, right, very soon.
So I got to that point and realised that, anything after 23 years, 20 days old, was a bonus. So that's why my philosophy is different to most people.
Sure.
So I was very determined to find another job. Who's going to give a guy with no qualifications, who's a baker, a job? Well, another baker would, but I didn't want to be a baker anymore. So I eventually managed to black my way into an estate agent, because I looked at property, and properties, in my eyes, is very sexy, and it was in the 80s. If you think about people in property, they're usually quite wealthy and have a great lifestyle. So it was a great appeal to me. So I got involved in estate agents. I was there for 10 years. Right. And I'd done really well. I was one of the top negotiators. I've always been praised for doing really well. I was bordering on area manager. I was a manager of a big flagship office. But most of my mates were, doing really well for themselves. And one of them, who's my business partner today, said to me, look, why don't you come and join me? You know what you're doing, 50-50.
Okay.
You do the hard work, I'll put the money up, and he's been my business partner ever since. So I left in '96, got involved in trading property, and what we did was, we've done over 500 transactions. I've been involved in 500 transactions in the last 15 years, and that's literally just buying them and selling them.
Wow. Wow, phenomenal. So, bear in mind you've had 10 years experience in estate agency. You've seen a lot of different ways how people buy property and how and their exit strategies. So, why did you decide to buy and sell as opposed to, I suppose, when I started in property, everybody was buying to hold. So you seem to be one of the few, which is good. So why did you decide to do that?
Well, it's one of 3 things really. As I explained earlier, my idea of life is very different to most people's. It's precious, every day counts. I don't know when my time's going to be up. So I live for today. Right. So I don't look towards the future when I'm 75 and peeing my pants and got lots of money. I'm looking at it when I want to do it in my 30s, 40s and 50s.
Sure.
And so I'm in it for lifestyle.
Lifestyle.
And one of the reasons I got involved in the first place is because as an agent I was working long hours, and the guys I got friendly with were all developers, and they were driving flash cars, living in big houses, going away 6 holidays a year, earning 10 times what I was for a fraction of the time, and I was doing 60 hours a week, and I thought I want a piece of that. So that's what made me get out and start doing it. And the other thing as well is that with trading, it's instant
Yes.
cash, and I make it for massive income, not passive income.
Right.
I'm not worried about drip feeding stuff in the future, and I do appreciate that assets go up over a period of time. But during the 90s,
Mm.
I saw people paying 20% interest rate because the base rate was 15.5, 16%. The commercial rate for landlords, there was no buy-to-lets at the time, were 4% above base rate. So some people were paying 20%, and they were wiped out, literally wiped out in a matter of
Absolutely.
6 months.
Yeah, yeah. I can remember that well.
And it could happen again.
And it could happen.
And if I say to you, if I'd have said to you in 2007, Martin, interest rates will be 0.5% by 2009, you'd have laughed at me.
I would have done.
You'd have probably put me in a straitjacket, threw me in a padded cell, and thrown away the key.
That's true.
But I could say to you that I can see rates, touching 10% in the future.
Right, right. Which again will wipe a large percentage of investors out. So one needs to, work out what you're going to do and to find a way forward, so that when that does happen, you're in a very comfortable, or you're in a strong position to survive.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm always concerned, and I say I live for the deal today because I can then spend it.
Sure, sure.
I can't. If I walked into Mercedes-Benz and said, "Look, I want to buy that car," and they said, "How are you going to pay?" and I said, "I've got a couple of bricks here stuck together. Can you pay with that?" They'd
Got
say,
some equity.
"Yeah, sorry, no."
Take a charge on the house.
And it's interesting because the only way you can spend equity,
Mm.
unless you sell the asset, is to borrow against it.
Yes, that's right.
And I don't borrow money. I don't like it.
You don't? No,
No.
no. Interesting, interesting.